everybody, it's Miss Susan, and I have a new circle to share with you today for March. It's a spring circle, and it's also a movement journey. It's it's loosely based on the story of Peter Rabbit, and I apologize in advance for two things. First of all, as I go through this circle, I get out of breath, so I apologize for panting as I do my circle. Second of all, I just rewrote it this morning, so I'm going to keep my papers with me. Oh, and the third thing is that because it's a movement circle with a lot of movement up and down, I'm going to try as best I can to adjust the camera so you can see the parts that you need to see, but sorry, it's likely that part of it's likely to be a little choppy. So, that's how it is when you're cast, crew all together. So, without further ado, here we go to the Peter Rabbit's Adventure Circle. I traveled far across the sea. I met a man, and old was he. Old man, I said, where do you live? And this is what he told me. Follow me to Stamping Land, Stamping Land, Stamping Land. All who wish to live with me, come follow me to Stamping Land. I traveled far across the sea. I met a man, and old was he. Old man, I said, where do you live? And this is what he told me. Follow me to Tiptoe Land, Tiptoe Land, Tiptoe Land. All who wish to live with me, come follow me to Tiptoe Land. I traveled far across the sea. I met a man, and old was he. Old man, I said, where do you live? And this is what he told me. Follow me to Hopping Land, Hopping Land, Hopping Land. All who wish to live with me, come follow me to Hopping Land. Wow! Hopping Land is a very busy place. Do you know that I see many bunnies hopping around here? And I think that little bunny over there is Peter Rabbit. Oh my goodness. And look, here's his little house. Peter's house in the roots of the fir tree was cozy and warm. He lived there with his sisters and his mom. I'm off to market, Mama said. I'll be back soon with berries and bread. You stay home while I'm away. Stay safe in our house and do not stray. The sisters said, we'll stay home and read a book. But Peter had that faraway look. The sisters said, we'll stay home and read a book. But Peter had that faraway look. For spring, you see, was in the air. Soon Peter hopped up without a care. Soon he came to the pond so blue. First he came to the pond so blue. Hello, little fishies. How are you? We swim and swim in sunshine bright. To swim and laugh is our delight. We swim and swim in sunshine were waddling in the grass nearby. The little ones were too young to fly. How many are there? Sakes alive! I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 little ducks that I once knew. Fat ones, skinny ones, fair ones too. But the one little duck with his... Oops, sorry. Let's do this. But the one little duck with the feather on his back, he led the others with a quack, 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 quack. He led the others with a quack, quack, quack. Down to the river they would go, wibble wobble to and fro. But the one little duck with a feather on his back, he led the others with a quack, quack, quack. Well, those ducks were quite fun, you see. But Peter continued on his way. He knew just what he wanted to do today. Peter continued on his way. He knew where he wanted to go today. To the farmer's garden without delay. Under the fence, he rolled with ease. Under the fence, he rolled with ease. Then he hopped over the rows with grace and ease until he got to his favorite green peas. 5 little peas in a pea pod pressed. 1 grew, 2 grew, so did all the rest. They grew and they grew, and they did not stop until one day that pod went pop. 5 little peas in a pea pod pressed. 1 grew, 2 grew, so did all the rest. They grew and they grew and they did not stop until one day that pod went pop. Well, Peter found much more to eat. Lettuces, radishes, and baby cabbages. So sweet. He ate till his tummy was way too full. And then along came the farmer, carrying his hoe. "Get out of my garden," the farmer yelled, and Peter scampered as fast as he could. When he got to the garden gate, he found it closed. When he got to the garden gate, he found it closed. So Peter dug with his paws and his nose. So Peter dug with his paws and his nose. He crawled beneath. At last, he was free. At last, he was free. And home he went as fast in the tree. He hurried back to his home in the tree. Tired and breathless, he lay on the floor. His sisters ate bread with butter, but Peter couldn't eat one bite more. His mama put him to bed with some chamomile tea and sang him this song to lull him to sleep. Sleep, my little bunnies, sleep the long night through. Sleep until the rooster wakes and sings his cock-a-doodle-doo. Sings his cock-a-doodle-doo. And Peter Rabbit, he slept the whole night through. Brother Rabbit, your ears are mighty long. Oh yes, Brother Possum, I believe they're put on wrong. However, every little soul must shine, shine. Every little soul must shine. Rise and shine, rise and shine. Rise and shine. Brother Rabbit, your ears are mighty long. Oh yes, Brother Possum, I believe they're put on wrong. However, every little soul must shine, shine. Every little soul must shine. Rise and shine, rise and shine. Rise and shine. All right, little bunnies, time to scamper off and play. See you soon. Hi everybody. I've caught my breath now. Actually, it's the next day, and I just wanted to share some thoughts with you about the circle. So I call this this kind of a circle is called, you can call it a movement journey or an adventure circle. And it's just a variation of a regular circle. It tends to have a lot more movement. I learned about these from Nancy Blanning, who has been a mentor and teacher of mine, and she's written this book with Laurie, Movement Journeys and Circle Adventures, and there's a second book too that's called perhaps More Movement Journeys. I don't know, but there's a second book in this series, and these are really wonderful books with lots of helpful information. And actually Nancy wrote a rabbit adventure circle in here that inspired mine. I wrote my own, and these circles, she developed these kind of circles because she found that the four foundational senses, and I'll provide you a link to an article about the four foundational senses, that children just weren't getting enough movement and that those senses weren't being nourished enough. So these circles with a lot of movement add that in. But I think what's really important to remember when you do a circle is that you need to make it your own. I made this one my own, and of course you're welcome to use it just as it is. I will share a link where you can get a PDF of the words, but also you can just use it as a jumping off point. If it's filled with your enthusiasm and your imagination, and if you have fun with it, then it's going to be more fun and nourishing
for your child or your children as well. So I used a couple of props in the circle. I was limited because I could only use as much space as my camera could see, and as you noticed, just with the up and down, I had to keep adjusting the camera. But yeah, but you can. There are places where you can use more props too. So um, I'm just gonna go through the circle and just make some comments on it, some things for you to think about. So um, I started this circle with this little song. I traveled far across the sea, and that's a song that I came across somewhere. I don't exactly remember where, but I've used it a lot, and it's really fun. It can lead you into the story of a circle, or it could just be fun to move with. And the original one that I found was Stamping Land. But of course, there's this song is an invitation to add all sorts of different lands, to go to all sorts of different lands, and you can vary it whether you want to bring the energy up. You can go jumping or hopping or skipping, and if you want to bring the energy down a little bit, you can, tiptoe or crawl. Um, so it's a really fun one to play with. And I did not start this circle with my usual like circle gathering song. This one can work that way if you want, and if you prefer, you can start out with the regular beginnings of the circle. But this one is just different enough that I would start just like this. Now I find that I like to intersperse these in my regular circles and do them not too often, but every once in a while, like maybe over the course of a year, I would do 2 or 3 of these kinds of circles. This time of year, I recorded this right at the very beginning of March, is a really good time, in my opinion, to do this. I noticed as I spent time in the early childhood classroom, spring officially starts around March 21st, but the children feel it. They start springing, literally springing. So a circle with a lot of movement can be really great to meet this time. And also, it's kind of an in between time, at least the places that I've lived. It's not quite spring yet at the beginning of March, but we're thinking about it. Sometimes the weather isn't so nice to spend a lot of time outside. Maybe it is, but anyway, I found that this kind of movement circle, that this is a really nice time to bring it and bring some extra movement. So so this loosely follows the story of Peter Rabbit. It starts at home. It's nice to start at home, nice and quiet, and with this kind of embrace. Um, and then I actually took the inspiration for the fishes and the ducks from Nancy Blanning's circle. I wrote my own words, but she had the little rabbit visit the pond and swim with the fishes. Now I noticed when I watched myself, these are developmental movement exercises. The fish one is that technically you should have your legs together. Mine are not all the way together. So if you can do that, you can do that. You can actually move like that. I did a little bit. I'm not sure how well you could see it. You can move across the floor in that position with your arms by your side, and your legs together and up, and you can kind of inch your way forward. It's fun. It's a fun thing to do. Um, so yeah, and the ducks waddling in the grass. My knees are not so happy to do that waddling, but um, that song, the Five Little Ducks that I once knew, that's a traditional children's song that I put in there, and Nancy Blanning also used it, or a version of it, in her circle. So if you can waddle the whole time, go for it. I couldn't do it. And if you can't, if your knees aren't that good, you can just walk around, or you can do it as a finger game. I shared it. I shared it on my YouTube channel as a I think is a finger game. I'll have to look and see. Anyway, so the log roll is also another good kind of movement. That's that roll that Peter does going under the fence. If you have enough people, or if you have something that's like wide enough to roll under, and for a child at least, you can set that up as part of your movement journey. Or if you have two grown-ups, if you're doing it in a classroom, or if you have two adults at home, you can hold a stick or a piece of cloth for the child to roll under. So I mean, it's fun. I think to have more props is fun, but also I think it's really just important to do whatever is doable, because it's not so much fun if you're running around and trying to move things around and set things up and take them down. So just use your own judgment on that. But that's one little idea. And so it's also I set up those little sticks, which I did not actually jump over very gracefully, but that's also another good developmental movement. If you're going to jump over them, I actually put them a little too close together for my feet. They would be a good distance apart for a child's feet. But if you're going to be jumping with your child, you might want to check to make sure they're far enough apart so you can jump with your feet forward instead of sideways. And you can use, I just had 5 sticks, but you can use more if you want, or you can go back and forth a few times. All of these movements you can repeat more or less than I did. The 5 little peas in a pea pod pressed. It's good. I mean, I needed to catch my breath, so it was good for me to pause at that point. But also, it's good to have these in and out breaths, these big and small movements. And you learn for yourself, like where your child or your children, if they get too out of themselves, and you need to bring it down, you can always change your rhyme, even just for that one day, to a sitting down rhyme. Or if everybody seems a little sluggish and you want to get them moving, you can do it with more whole body movements. Crawling is also a really good developmental movement for the children to do. So you could do that more or less. And when you hop back home, you can hop or run or skip or hop on 4 legs like a bunny, or all of them. Your child, if your child will follow you, just to make it fun. And and then of course the story ends as all good stories for young children end, in my opinion, with the child coming home again, and he's all tired out from his big adventure. So he falls asleep, and this little lullaby is one that I adapted from one that, again, I don't remember where it came from, but I rewrote it a little bit. It's nice to have a rest. And then the last song that I sang, Brother Rabbit, that's I learned that at a summer course that I was taking, and we just sang it. But I often would use it at the end of my circle time if we were going off I was sending the children off to play afterwards. It was just a nice way to get them all up, and we would stretch a little, and then they would just all scamper off to play. So it's a fun little song, and it's a nice way to wake up at the end of the circle. I did it for many circles. Sometimes I would use that song at the end of my circle for the whole year. It doesn't have to be limited to bunny circles. So that's the end of the circle, and that is what I wanted to say to you. So please let me know if you have any questions. You can leave a message down in the comment section, or contact me through my website. And thank you so much for listening. If you liked this video, let me know, and if you didn't, you can let me know if you want. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. So long.